From Lalate News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings Lalate.
It's a big Monday morning on Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In today's recording, we go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon, mostly application-based, and a deal done with $3.5 trillion of checks coming to you. I'll explain to you how you pounce as a Purple Hawk and get these application-based checks under the fourth stimulus recon. And then we cut to the voting process and why it's going to be easier, breezier than initially anticipated. I have the latest breaking news in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to the very end. Then we cut to fifth stimulus recon, which raises your benefits up a lifetime if you're on SSI to SSDI. This is just a few days away. And then we cut to the big money across the board as one viewer got over $50,000 from this channel. And in this video, you'll meet another who got $100,000 for rent, utilities, and food. This is Mornings LA. Congratulations, a new week is upon us, and it's going to be a big week with breaking news across the board, so you don't want to miss a single video across anywhere this week, so stay with me. Big news left and right. But first, how's the weather where you are? It's muggy here today. Oh, Lord, it's so muggy. It feels like I'm in Washington, D.C. at Mitch's Lobster Fest. Yeah, if you feel like a lobster, jump in the live chat and tell me how the weather is where you are right now on this big Monday morning. We're going to cut to that fourth stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then the recon, a done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you and the American people in the fourth stimulus recon, the biggest payout we've ever seen on this channel. And why is most of these checks application-based? And as a Purple Hawk, you're ready to pounce. Then we cut to the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to the very end as we have new details about the voting dates and the voting path. Why it's going to be easier, breezier than initially anticipated. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up if you're SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits and more. And then we turn to the big money across the board that people are getting from third stimulus. We had seen $20,000, then we saw $30,000. And then Mark got $50,000 from this channel. Today you meet Lorraine, who got over $105,000. And it's your day to get this big money as well, because this is LA, America's only 24-hour day. 7 days a week, financial news channel in America. Live in the morning like right now and taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto, which last night went up 200% in viewership. Can you imagine? And this is as we're getting ready to go into our stock coverage in the next few days. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. 2,000-3,000 likes. Every like helps. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. And also join me at noontime, live on air at 11 a.m. Let's get into those monthly stimulus checks. Senate versus House, House versus Senate. Both monthly, but different number of checks and different payouts. Let's go over everything you need to know, starting right now. House versus Senate, Senate versus House. Well, away we go. The House is pandemic plus 1 year. July to December is the Senate. Let's go over the payouts for the House. House is $1,000 a month after the first month of 2000. Senate is unknown, but word on the street is the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Today is Monday, and guess what today means? Today means that if you are in New York City and you want to dine inside a restaurant, you have to present a vaccination card. San Francisco is the second city to do this in the country. Many believe it's going to be widespread across the nation. That's because the pandemic is far from over, and that means that the House bill would pay you more than 12 months of checks, which would be more than 12 checks. And that House bill would be more than $13,000. Compare that to this in the Senate. Yeah, I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House of Senate, and tell me how the weather is where you are this beautiful Monday morning. So excited for you to be with me. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? You do. The Democrats represent. Single individual, 75,000 or less, Democrats represent. You get a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 or less, Democrats represent. You get a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats represent. You get a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security Railroad benefits, Democrats represent. You get one as well. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. And the fourth stimulus check is not a different check for adult dependents or anyone else. The fourth stimulus check, meantime, is not a waivable check. So if you're at the Dodgers game today in the stadium and you see the wave coming, here it comes, wave, and you get down and then you look to the left and say, oh, there's the check. I did not see the check since the beach. But the check didn't stand up for the wave. Rude check. No, it's not a rude check. It's not a waivable check. But it may also be a Giants fan. In the second half of this video, we cut to the recon. A done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you under the fourth stimulus recon. This is the biggest payout we've ever seen in the history of the channel. Checks of massive magnitude, but mostly application-based. And if you got money as a Purple Hawk under third stimulus, you're going to be ready to pounce and get big money under fourth stimulus. And everyone's going to be wondering, how did you learn that? You learned it here as part of this community. Then in the third part of this video, we cut to the incredible voting path. Why the voting path will be easier, breezier, and faster than we initially were told. It's great news. It's coming up in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to the very end. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. But first, let's get some money. Let's get some money for rent, utilities, food, and internet. Get that pen and paper ready. And we're going to start with rent. Rent, I had told you, was 4 to 6 months of rent. Now we see people getting rent for several years. I also said the rent was about $5,000. I was wrong because guess what? Viewers are getting a lot more than $5,000. Are you ready to see the incredible success stories of viewers and how much money they have gotten for rent under third stimulus as pouncing from a Purple Hawk, as Purple Hawks on this channel? Here you go. $27,000 for Elizabeth as a Purple Hawk. Wow. Great job, Elizabeth. Mark, $25,000 as a Purple Hawk. In fact, Mark tells me that he told his neighbor, hey, watch that kid, Lalate. He's the real deal. Go get some rent. And the viewer and the neighbor went from $0 to $20,000 in rent in just days. Nancy got $24,000 for rent. Richard, $22,000. Nisi, $20,000. Do you see a familiar trend here? Yeah, they're all above $20,000. If you have a success story for any sum of money, send me a private message on social media at Lalate. And here's some of the messages I got in the last few days. Gonzalez here in California tells me he got $8,000 for rent. Congratulations. Pamela, $12,000 of rent. Carla got utilities and SNAP. Tiffany, $13,000 for rent, and she also got some other items. Randy got $6,000 of rent and got some other items. Jennifer got $5,000 of rent and got some other items. And Cecilia got $1,200 for heap. That's a heap of heap. So how about some utilities? Let's look at what other viewers are getting for utilities. Ready? Bam. Whoa, that's a heap of utilities. Nancy, there's Nancy again. Oh, that's number 2 for Nancy. There's number 2 for Mark as well. Nancy getting $7,000, Mark getting $6,500, and Angela's $5,000. SNAP is money for food. And how much do you think people are getting for SNAP? They are not getting $200 a year. How much annualized do you think they're getting? Are you ready for this deliciousness? Here we go. Whoa. Louie, $18,000 for SNAP. Incredible. John, $10,000 to $12,000. And there's Nancy again. Oh, Nancy got the Triple Crown. That's the third item for Nancy. Are you ready to see the people who got 3 items from this channel, the Triple Crown winners? Ready? Let's see a drum roll. Bam. Wow. Nancy, $32,000 she got for 3 items. Nisi, $23,000 she got for 3 items. And Mark, $32,000 he got for 2 items. 2 items. Mark, this is a graphic for 3 items. How did you get on the graphic for 3 items? You got 2. Why is Mark on the graphic for 3 items? I'll tell you why. I had made a recording that said to Mark, hey, you got $32,000. But you didn't get SNAP. Why did you not get SNAP? Everyone knows SNAP is a SNAP. It's easy to get SNAP. So for 7 days, I recorded on camera for Mark to go get SNAP, and he got SNAP. Mark was at $32,000 originally. How much more do you think he got? I said get $8,000 for SNAP, Mark, because I love $40,000. There's a lot of zeros in there. I love lots of zeros on a check, don't you? Well, Mark got SNAP, and he got more than $8,000. How much do you think Mark got? $9,000? No. Try $19,000 annualized for SNAP. And this is Mark's achievement, $50,500. And this is Lalate. This is what we've been doing since day one, and we're doing it bigger and bolder than ever before. In March of last year, I noticed people had applied for EIDL loans and their applications were stalled. So I launched this channel to help them get their applications approved. 330, 331, and 48 vortexes. If you remember that, jump in the live chat, say, I remember that. And they needed help on their applications getting approved. And I stepped in and I got their applications approved. $25 million of EIDL loans approved, doing them in the middle of the night sometimes, on air with camera with viewers. 10 applications a day getting approved at some point at $150,000 a pop, $25 million, saving their businesses, their homes, and their employees' homes. But then in fall, second stimulus was not coming. So I said, hey, you need to pounce and get the application-based money under second stimulus. And that was rent. $250,000 gotten by viewers of this channel. Tyrone, his family of four out of Boston, got $15,000 for rent in December at a time which it was hard to get rent at the time. He pounced. He understood how to apply and get this big money, and he got it. And now we're doing it bigger and bolder than ever before because you as Purple Hawks have now learned to pounce and get this big application-based money. But boy, $50,000 is not the ceiling. It is not. We thought that $20,000, $23,000 was. Then we thought $50,000 was. Well, today I introduce you to the biggest sum I've ever seen on this channel for rent, utilities, and food. Introducing Lorraine, who got $105,000 for rent for several years, food, and additional sums of money. And this is how we do it. As Purple Hawks, get that pen and paper ready. We're going to start, and you're going to be the next Lorraine starting right now. We're going to get some rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities. I'm going to start with some introductory remarks, so listen carefully. Number one, you're going to reach out to 6 places with different eligibility. So if you reach out to one, it says no, you don't stop. You keep on pushing. Why? Because each place has their own eligibility. They also have their own pot of money. Number 2, you want to listen to the keywords I say because viewers say that really helps them get approved. Number 3, every state is paying money. Number 4, don't create your own eligibility criterion in your brain. They don't give checks to guys that wear purple shirts in front of surfboards. I heard that. No, don't create these eligibility notions in your mind. There is nothing that is disqualifying you until you apply. So apply and get approved. And away we go. You ready? Here we go. We're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. That's it. You do it. You pick up the phone today. You call. You go on the internet. You apply right away today. And congratulations to Tim and Linda, who got this wonderful pot of money as well. If you got money for rent or utilities, post in the live chat. Let's go now to SNAP. SNAP is a SNAP. What is SNAP? SNAP is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $15,000 a year. Why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump that raised everyone's benefits up 15%. Louis got $15,000. John, 10 to 12,000. Mark, 19,000. Lynn Glenn got it for herself and her son and her mom. You get as well, and we're killing it. $27,000 for rent, $9,000 for utilities, $19,000 for SNAP. If you got SNAP, post in the live chat, and we're just getting started. We're only 13 minutes of this video. Let's turn now to the money coming back from your state to do overpayment of unemployment benefits and a computer error. Where's that landing? Direct deposit. Can you track it? Yeah, contact your state and say, hi, state, I'd like to track the check due to computer error. And can you turn on the computer this time when you track it? Oh, yes, sir, I will. Why does that sound like Sir Loin's working there? And then finally, the last refund check coming back from your federal government. This is the taxes you paid on that 2020 unemployment benefits. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. And guess what? It's a waivable check. I know, Mitch, that hurts your ears when you hear that. It's a waivable check. The average waive is about $1,200, $1,400, a new waive every week. More about that in a second. If you're in the live chat and you've not posted your success stories, please do. Because when you do, you help other people. This channel is launched for me to help you get money, and you're helping other people when you post your success stories several different wonderful ways. One, we're refocusing as we realize, wait a second, $27,000 is not automatic money. You can't just hold up a donut and say, can I have $27,000 in my hand? No, you have to pick up the phone. You don't have to run a marathon to get $27,000, but you have to pick up the phone. And when people are in the live chat and they see, wait a second, I see this in people's rent being paid. I want my rent being paid. I'm going to pick up the phone rent as soon as this video's over and get this rent. I'm going to watch the next video this guy has so I learn how to do this. And then everyone has a utility bill. People have a utility bill. And then you realize, wait a second, people's utilities are getting paid. I'm going to go get this money. You inspire people. Then a lot of people never heard of Snap until they saw your success stories. Larry Maui never heard of Snap until he found this channel. He got $5.50 a month as a single individual out of Hawaii. And then Art Sullivan, who's wonderful, and Nisi, who's wonderful, got 3 items. They inspired people to get 3 items. Don't just stop with 1 item. Keep on pushing. They got 3 items. They inspired Nancy to get 3. Mark had 2. They inspired him to get the 3rd. And finally, we get the updates about how big these numbers are now happening. And let's cut back to those unemployment benefits. Where are they landing? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, go to irs.gov and do a transcript search, and 70% of the time it will work. It'll reveal the taxes you pay and the tax return you filed. And then it'll reveal stuff you really wish you had never seen. Like when Mitch has his lobster fest in D.C., does he really dress up in that inflatable lobster outfit? And then finally we'll reveal the refund check you came back from IRS. Can we top that? Yes, as we go into the second part of your forced stimulus check update of 2021, starting right now. Deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people under the forced stimulus recon. Let's go over what's going on. First stimulus, this big. Second, third, all this big. Forced stimulus, this big. There's a lot of room in there to put a stimulus check. The prior stimulus packages mostly for corporations, 90% for corporations. This one, nearly not for corporations, nearly all for you. Most of the checks in forced stimulus are application-based. So if you have applied for any of these items under third stimulus as a Purple Hawk and pounced and gotten at least one of the monies, then you have learned the skills how to pounce under fourth stimulus. Because imagine, if you're getting $30,000 under third stimulus, imagine how much you could get under fourth stimulus that's this big. How do we get to this spot? By taking roads and bridges out of the recon that were originally in there and putting them into something called bipartisan. It's important to follow and understand roads and bridges and recon on this channel because the president has made very clear he has a desk in the White House, and he must have both bodies of legislation on that desk at the same time. If he only has recon, he's not signing it. If he only has roads and bridges, he's not signing it. He must have both. So the conservative publication confirms my reporting. The higher the price tag was on the recon originally, the harder it was to pass. There you go. By allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending and put it into the roads and bridge, into the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller. In other words, the recon was made passable by the bipartisan, and vice versa. Once the Democrats got that recon set up, the price tag of 3.5 followed easily. This is something you're only going to hear on this channel. The price tag of $3.5 trillion was agreed upon and discussed and determined far before this voting process started by both senators and House members. So once this recon lands in the House, it's an easy vote, folks, because they already agreed upon this price tag before they started. And that's because the progressives were meeting with the White House daily to come up with a price tag. They got it, $3.5 trillion. Representative Richie Torres says we have to have a larger recon. You got it, pass, $3.5 trillion. And Elon Omar says we have to have a recon that goes as big and bold as we want it, pass, $3.5 trillion. The president was telling the progressives and the Democrats, protect my recon, because everything in there is checks for the American people. Schatz and Jalopal said the White House had said the progressive priorities in there are the White House's priorities. So what is a recon? What is a bipartisan? What is a recon procedural? What is a recon substantive? Let me show you everything you need to know, because you need to know this stuff, because the bodies of legislation all have to go to the finish line. Let's start with the two very basic words, recon and bipartisan. What is the difference between them and which one is your money? Let's go over that right now. Recon is your money. It's also called reconciliation. It's also called the budget bill. Price tag $3.5 trillion. It's also called the spending plan, the Democratic spending plan, the progressive welfare assistance plan. Spending is a very common word you'll hear. It's your money. Bipartisan, not your money. This is roads and bridges, also called the infrastructure, price tag $1.5 trillion. We are dealing with 3 bodies of law we have to pass: recon procedural, recon substantive, and bipartisan. Recon procedural goes first, then recon substantive goes next. What is the difference between recon procedural and recon substantive? You're only going to hear this on the channel because no one else is going to take the time and effort to make sure you are informed like this. So recon procedural is very basic. It only asks 2 very simple questions. What is the price tag for a future recon we're going to do? 3.5 trillion. Okay. And then how are we going to disperse the money among congressional committees? $10 to this committee, $20 to that committee? Yes, done. That's all I'd ask. How much and how is it going to split the money among committees to be allocated those sums of money? That's all it's going to ask. Once recon procedural is passed, then they do recon substantive. At recon substantive step, then those subcommittees, we ask, okay, now that the subcommittee has $10, how is that subcommittee going to spend the $10? That is where they actually start drafting the legislation, which becomes the recon bill. So who writes the recon bill? It's written by subcommittees of the House that are dedicated to different subject matters on the Constitution. For example, House Ways and Means writes stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. When each of the subcommittees are done writing what they got to write, let's say it's 10 subcommittees and 10 pages, they combine it, send it up to Chuck, 100 pages. He puts a big ass on it for stimulus. No, for Schumer. No, for Senate. But later in this video, you're going to see that maybe it has an H on it for House. Yes, because it may be starting in the House. Stay to the final 15 minutes of this video for those breaking details. But first, let's go over to how we got to this wonderful spot. From Jalapal. Jalapal recently wrote Schumer a letter saying, Chuck, call the vote. That letter was signed by 10 House Democrats, part of 100 plus, yes, who wrote the president a letter weeks earlier saying we're going to be putting monthly fourth stimulus checks to the fourth stimulus package. Wow, Purple Power. You got to push. Can we top that? Yes. As 7 members of the House Ways and Means Subcommittee, the one we just went over, yes, recently wrote the president a letter saying we're going to be putting monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Well, Purple Power, you got to push and make sure they keep their promise. Can we top that? Yes. As the president has now gotten something done overseas. He went 7 weeks ago overseas to have a ceremonial signature on something he signed a few days later back here in the United States. It's for something called the Global Minimum Corporate Tax Rate. And it's great news because it's not on the recon. Making it easier to write the recon, easier to call the vote on the recon, easier to vote on the recon, and easier to pass the recon because this thing is not in there. And can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, we'll be going over why, as a Purple Hawk, you're going to do much better under fourth stimulus than anyone else because you've been pouncing under third stimulus, and fourth stimulus is mostly application-based. Then we'll be going over the breaking news about why the voting path will be faster and easier breezier than initially anticipated. Then we cut to fifth stimulus as well. But first, if you need help with rent, utilities, or food, or internet, make sure you try to get it yourself. Get at least one item yourself, because once you get it yourself, then you've developed the skill set to pounce under fourth stimulus. And then if you have problems getting the other sums of money, reach out to the volunteers. They're in the community page, where, open the description of this video. Go down the description, you'll see a link to the community page. It's news.lalate.com/community. There, the volunteers will help you get those other sums of money if you can't find them. And here's a little bit about them. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as the final 15 minutes heats up on Mornings Lalate. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now on Mornings Lalate as the toast is toasted. The butter is butter, and I'm here, you're here, and I'm excited for you to join me in a packed room. There's a lot of people in the live chat right now. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP, so you pounce and get the big sums of money. Coming up next at 9:45 a.m. live on air is Mornings Crypto. And thank you for making last night's Overnight's Crypto the most watched show ever in the history of this channel overnight, nearly going up 200+% in one day. Wow, that is a leap. And then join me at 11 a.m. for noon time. Of course, new shows are coming up later this afternoon as well. Big day and a lot of breaking news in the final 15 minutes of this video. We'll save the very end. Coming up on that right now. But first, the president, when running for the highest office in the land, said he was going to raise your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI. So now the Democrats are taking care of this for you. And where are they doing it? In something called fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus starts within just days. It's the SSI reform. They proposed to start writing it in September, calling it for a vote in November, applying it in November, and then the benchmark for December for next year's benefits. Let's go over how it works starting right now. First, they'll raise your benefit limits up. Then they'll remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over how this works starting right now. Who is this for? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, or SSA or multiple beneficiaries. First thing they'll do is raise your benefits up a lifetime. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. You may have heard a lot about COLA over the weekend going up 6% next year. Who cares? That's horrible. It hasn't done anything for 20-something years. They're getting rid of COLA because that's nothing to celebrate, 6%. This is why they're giving you now inflation, which goes up a lot more. How high is inflation going? It's going to be transitory in December. What does that mean? It means a temporary spike. Oh, and how high a spike? I'm reporting about 5%. So let's go over the analysis if it is 5%. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll apply a benchmark. And if it goes up 5%, your benefits will go up another 5%, not just next year, but lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. If the inflation rate is 2% the year after that, you're at +2, +5%. Then they're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. They're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't be on benefits and have more than $3,000 on hand. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. And you'll be able to do a pair dance at your own wedding, like Rob and Sandy. No longer fear loss of benefits, and if your benefits were lost, they'll be restored. Finally, the Democratic subcommittee members represent there will be a fifth stimulus check in the fifth stimulus package. Finally, if you're on the live chat and you notice people who have a Purple Hawk next to their name and you don't have one, why haven't you joined? The link under the video is where you join. By becoming a Purple Hawk, I deliver to you daily from the YouTube community page a breakdown of all the big money that's available for you under second stimulus, third stimulus, and proposed under fourth and fifth stimulus. Because as a Purple Hawk, you learn how to pounce. Here's what's happening. When December was upon us and there was a $600 stimulus check, well, that was just $600. It came and went and you spent it and then you needed more money. So I got people other sums of money, $250,000, like Tyrone and his family of four out of Boston, $15,000. But when third stimulus was passed, it was a $14 stimulus check. I said, don't focus on that. Focus on the $14,000 I can get you under third stimulus and to pounce as a Purple Hawk. And now you see the numbers. Purple Hawks under third stimulus have been pouncing, getting far more than $14,000. They're getting more than that just on rent alone. They're getting $27,000, $20,000 for rent because they understand that the big money under third stimulus is getting these massive payouts paid. They're application based. They're applying. And when you pounce as a Purple Hawk to get these big sums of money and learn how the skills to do it, then when fourth stimulus becomes law, you're going to pounce and people are going to say, how did you learn that? And you're going to sort of smile. And that brings us into the final 15 minutes of this video, starting right now. Deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people under the fourth stimulus recon. The first was this big, second, third, and fourth, third this big, mostly for corporations. This one's this big. Far more than enough room for a stimulus check. But most of the money under forced stimulus recon is application based. So if you have pounced before and gotten some of these other sums of money, you're going to know how to pounce and get this one money. For example, if you pounced and got SNAP under third stimulus, now you know how to get the other sums of money that are mostly application based. And what are those other checks? Here's a preview of some of the other checks that they're proposed, not law yet, but proposed to give you under forced stimulus recon. They're all in different locations because you're going to hear something for dental and you're going to hear something for internet. So they don't have one person sending out the check for both dental and internet. And here we go. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, then free internet checks, then farmers checks, then lots of checks for workers and lots of checks for seniors. Checks for workers like checks for independent contractors, checks for unions, lots of checks for seniors like dental checks, vision checks, hearing care checks, and lower eligibility checks. I love how everyone has the Purple Hawk spirit lately because some people are sending messages say, I want to get that dental check. Not law yet, but thank you for ready to pounce as a Purple Hawk before it's law. Let's go over the next thing to know. The recon is going to be easy to pass for the procedural staff. The recon procedural. Why? You heard it earlier in this video. The Democrats have already agreed upon the price tag of $3.5 trillion, House and senators. So when the recon procedural lands in the House, it's going to pass in a blink of an eye. They've already agreed upon it before they start the voting process. So after that, they go into the recon substantive. Let's go over the dates and why this is great news, because it's happening earlier than initially thought, and it's going to be easier to pass than initially thought. There are some dates that are proposed, and there's some dates that are firm. The firm dates, the proposed dates have an asterisk next to them. So August 23rd, Steny Hoyer has a firm date for the recon procedural vote in the House. This will pass in a second, easy vote. Then September 15th, recon substantive has a firm date to pass from Chuck Schumer. But where? Asterisk House? Well, it was proposed to start in the Senate, but there's a lot of reports that maybe it'll start in the House. I love the House. I'll tell you why. First, the House is where they're writing the legislation in the subcommittees. Second, the House is far more progressive. Progressives spend more money than moderate Democrats. Number three, I like the House members going first because House members usually spend more money than senators. And also, if they're going first, then the senators can add on to that during the vote-a-rama coming second. So I love House going first. Then September 30th, recon final vote, proposed final date. That's a proposed date to get the final recon done. So once they done the recon procedural, then they do recon substantive. And that's where Seats for Stimulus is back. Seats for Stimulus was a social media campaign I launched in 2020, which basically went on social media. You tag elected officials, share this video, and you use the hashtag all together, spelled this way, Seats for Stimulus. It's you and you. There's no I. There's no stimulus. I've seen a lot of spellings of stimulus. And tag elected officials. It's working because guess what? There's 6 House seats up for grabs in November. So those elected officials are campaigning this week. They're front page news. And 6 seats falling could change the dynamic of the House in a blink of an eye. Could make the House more Democratic, could make the House very Republican. So the 6 seats are critical. Next year, 34 of 100 seats are up for grabs as well. So there we go. You have to ensure that you tag those elected officials with Seats for Stimulus and say, you need to put the right stimulus in the forced stimulus recon. All right, let's go over everything else you need to know. First, remember the president says both bodies of legislation have to land on my seat table at the same time. But I'm really excited for you. Why? Because I've seen the refocusing of people across the board over recent days. This channel launched in April of 2020 as helping people get their applications for EIDL loans that were stalled, that are in lock mode or vortex mode, out of vortex mode and into approval. People didn't know how to get their applications approved when they had applied and they thought the money was coming. And that's why I launched this channel. Then a few days later, on April 25th, I had heard about a new program going live in the country called PUA. It was going live on April 28th in some states. No one knew how to really apply for it. No one had ever heard of you apply for UI first and get denied, and then you go to PUA. People needed to know how to apply for it. So I made a gazillion videos explaining how do you apply for PUA and get approved? How do you apply for EIDL loans and get approved? What if you apply and you didn't do it right? How do you get approved? That's how most of these stimulus packages have been since day one of the first stimulus package. Application based, where you apply to get the money, massive sums of money, whether it's PPP or other programs as well. But along the way, somewhere around third stimulus, some of us got a little bit relaxed and comfortable with the notion of just automatic money. What's automatic money? Where you don't have to do anything and it just appears, sort of like an episode of I Dream a Genie. You sort of blink and it's there. And that was never really the case in any of these stimulus packages where it just sort of blinked and it appeared. Well, now I'm really excited because so many of you have refocused and have realized, wait a second, I'm not going to focus on a $1,400 third stimulus check. I'm going to go get the big other sums of money because $27,000 doesn't automatically appear when you blink your eyes. You got to pick up the phone. And you don't have to run a marathon, but you have to do more than just hold the donut and walk and line and sit in the recliner chair. And I'm so inspired because people are in the live chat helping one another. Someone will say, I'm in Mississippi. I haven't been able to find it. And then 3 other people will be in the live chat from Mississippi say, I'll tell you where it is. I'm from Mississippi. I got it. And then one viewer like Sandy will say, I applied for one place and I couldn't find it. And someone else will say, but there's 3 other places, 5 other places LA shows you. Did you go to those other? No, I'm going to do it right now. Or Tina, who may have said, I applied for one, but I didn't go look for the other ones. I'm going to now push and go get the other ones. You get inspired when people are pushing and getting these big sums of money because you realize, wait a second, these are for me. I'm going to go get it. You only have to get one item under third stimulus, like a SNAP or a utility bill of $100, to realize, I did that. I did that. I picked up the phone and I got approved. So when fourth stimulus becomes law, I'm going to know how to do this. And everyone else is going to be looking at me saying, how did you learn how to do this? And you're just going to smile. And with that, finally, a personal message. I delivered this personal message on air over the weekend, but I want to deliver it as well. It's very important that you have a safe and educational environment here on this channel. And throughout the last year, a lot of people and a lot of YouTube channels have tried to deal with external influences that are not often safe. For example, someone going into the comments of the video and saying, WhatsApp me in a foreign third world country and I'll send you a free car. Those people are out there and we all try to block them and we try our best, but they still keep on appearing. So a few days ago, I made the decision to hold comments under the video until review if you're a subscriber or a member. If you're not a subscriber, you're not a member, your comments will never post. But if you're a member, they'll post the first. And if you're a subscriber, some of them will post. There's thousands of comments per video. And ultimately, it's a lot of work to make any comment post after review. But I value your safety. Also, I value that you get the right information. There can always be someone like this person who's in the comments that says, I'm a 60-year-old widower and I'm in Tennessee. Is there money for me for rent? Of course there is. But then along the way, someone will be buzzing through the internet and landing and seeing, oh, I'm going to make that woman's life difficult and tell her, no, there's no money in the entire country for anyone over 60 years of age, so don't go looking for it. And that person buzzes away. Not a member, not a subscriber. But imagine all that harm that person did with just one line, because the person reading that comment who's 60 years old might believe it and say, I'm not going to apply for rent because that person who buzzed through said that. So now I'm making it a safer environment, and it really has shown a safer environment for you so you get the correct information and so that you're not bothered from external influences across the board. Meantime, there's a lot more shows coming up this week and a lot more breaking developing details. We're going to go over all the details across the board about the recon, the steps involved, and also the incredible sums of money that are in this recon. Bernie Sanders fought a generation to get you $3.5 trillion of checks. These are checks of all walks of life. And if you got one item for third stimulus, you're going to be able to pounce to get all these under fourth stimulus. Meantime, coming up next on air at 9:45 a.m. is Morning's Crypto, as Bitcoin is going to 46,000, Ethereum is going to 3,000, and Doge is heading to 32. Wow. Join this channel as we expand into stock coverage in the next few days as I show you how to become financially independent throughout 2021. And join me next at 11 a.m. as Mornings Lalate heats up, and then we go into our afternoons and evening shows as well. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP, the link's underneath the video. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful morning. Join me all weekend long and stay with me as Mornings Crypto starts in about 4 minutes right after this video.